Hey, man.
Oh, nothing much.
Oh, nothing much. I don't know how to respond.
Yeah, I don't either. That's why I don't like when you do it.
Unless I say, okay, well, hey, man.
All right. What do you want to talk about?
Have you ever heard of the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum theft?
The Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum theft.
Yeah, we could refer to it as its shortened name, the Gardner Museum theft.
Okay.
Because that is a mouthful.
I thought you were going to be like the
Bella Stewart Gardner Museum theft. Just take off the ISA.
We could go by the shorter version name, the Bella Stewie.
Just shorten the Bella Stewart Gardner Museum theft.
Okay, so is it a museum about gardeners? It's Lowe's.
Yes.
It's Lowe's.
Yeah.
It's Lowe's. Yeah.
Imagine walking into a Lowe's and the employees are like, "Welcome to our exhibit." And like,
But they don't talk that loud, though.
Like,
no one in museums talks loud enough for you to understand a word they're saying.
Mm-hmm. Which I don't understand.
Welcome to our exhibit. Like, what do you think? The paintings are going to be like, too loud. It's too loud in here.
I can't be beautiful with this much noise.
That's how I feel around my neighbors, though. When I'm suntanning outside, I suntan. And I'm out there like, I can't be beautiful with this much noise around. Everyone shut up so I can be pretty. Yeah.
Okay.
Why do you gotta be quiet in museums? In libraries, people are at least reading.
Libraries make sense. People are reading.
Museums,
people are just looking at stuff. Like,
yeah, it would make more sense if you had to try to not be seen by anybody. Like, you had to just creep around museums, and if you got spotted, you shot on the spot, dude.
Welcome to the museum. Remember, if someone sees you, you die.
No, Tim. That was way too loud. Welcome to the museum. Remember, if somebody sees you, you die.
And you're like, I just heard like 10 people say that. Where are they?
Quit looking around.
They're doing it right.
Can you play the theme song, but play it real quiet?
The Uber driver's like, sir, you can't duct tape your head in my car.
Dude, if I was Uber driving and somebody tried to get in my car looking like that, as long as I'm here, it's mine. I want my cut of the crime.
Gave all these toddlers batons.
Sure, they have a lot of energy.
They're just hitting everybody.
Yeah.
Things I learned last night.
So the Bella Stewie Gardner Museum theft.
Yes. So this is...
Where is the Gardner Museum?
Yeah.
Okay. Isabella Stewart.
Isabella
is the
Stewart
thief?
Gardner Museum. That's the museum.
That's the whole... okay, got it.
Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum is a museum in Boston,
Okay.
Massachusetts.
Sure.
So this was a heist on...
I thought you were going to say Boston Market. It's a museum inside the Boston Market. Would you guys like any cornbread?
Get behind that thing or you're going to get shot. This is a weird museum.
This is good so far. So
5 stars, except for my brother got shot.
If he could leave a review,
He'd probably give it like a 1.
He would not give it 5 stars. But he can't leave a review.
Yeah. This is the largest art heist in modern history. This is an art museum, an art heist.
What year did the heist happen?
1990. It is 30 years on, still unsolved.
Okay.
So the art's stolen in this heist.
The pieces.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that you're uneducated, but that's fine.
Yeah, so the art's stolen in this heist at the time were valued at $200 million.
In the 90s.
Yeah, today, detectives...
$725 million.
Detectives and art enthusiasts say that they think they would estimate it to be worth around $700 million today.
Hey, I was close.
You were really close.
Yeah, I know art.
You do?
I own like several pieces.
Name an art.
Name an art. Name an art.
Name an art.
Okay. I don't actually treat art that way. You know? I let it tell me what its name is. And that's how I've accrued over $1.3 billion in art pieces.
Over $1.3 billion
in pieces. You know?
Ask me if I can name an art.
Can you name an art? Finger painting?
Arthur Reed.
Yes, I hate you. Keep whatever.
What do you think?
So
What do you think? What do you? Okay. Anyways.
I'm not wearing a watch. I keep feeling how naked my wrist is, but go ahead.
Yeah, man. Put some clothes on.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's just one of those days where my arm feels super light.
For
You
audio
know?
listeners, he says he feels naked because he's not wearing a watch. He's also
I'm
naked.
also completely naked. It was just really hot in the office
I just
today.
feel so naked without my
just-
watch.
Yeah, we can't post the video of this episode. You know, YouTube won't allow it.
Okay, so this is a heist.
And that's art. That's what I'm saying. You know, it's doing this. Our podcast is art.
Okay, so here's a little bit of background. We got to lay a foundation.
Sure.
Isabella Stewart Gardner. She was a woman alive in the 1800s. She was an art enthusiast. I don't know why this is so hard for me to not laugh while saying this.
It's because
she
she's
was
dead.
an art.
And dead people make you giggle.
Dead people are funny, man. Okay.
That's not. All right.
So Izzy Stewart,
Okay.
she was a famous art collector in the 1800s, and she opened up an art museum in 1903.
To show off her art, right?
No, it was her collection. She was
No, that's
an
what I mean. Like to show
enthusiast.
off her collection of art.
Yeah, she doesn't do art.
Yeah. She's not an artist. She's
she
an
would never
art-
go somewhere and say, "Let's do art." She would go somewhere and say, "Thanks for doing art for me to see."
Thank you. Yeah. Let's do art. That's a callback, and that was a good one.
So she opened up this museum in 1903 of this curated collection she had spent her whole life curating. And then she died a little while after that.
Yeah.
And she left $3.9 million or $3.6 million in that day to curate and continue to operate her museum, which ran out of what was her home. And so this is like a historic building in Boston. But
Again, I wish that I was rich enough that my apartment would be. What if I had $1.3 billion of art in my apartment, in my Kansas City 2-bedroom, not the best apartment, you know?
yeah, that's pretty hilarious. Okay, so
How much is like the Mona Lisa worth?
a lot.
Well, yeah. But I'm wondering, like, what's the dollar amount on it right now?
Let's see. Mona Lisa value 2022.
Could somebody buy it in theory? I mean, I don't think who owns it? Who owns?
So current estimate is $53 million.
That's it?
$53.7 million.
I would imagine it's worth more than that. But I mean, like, who
But
owns
it
it?
does say that in 1962 it was assessed at $100 million.
So,
And so this is conflicting. The
who
current assessments conflict.
owns the painting? Who owns Leonardo da Vin Diesel's?
Who owns Mona Lisa?
He didn't laugh at that. That was a good one.
Yeah, I don't recognize this guy. I'm going to put his picture on the screen.
I don't know. I don't want to see.
Okay, we can move on.
So, but stop.
He actually owns the NFT version.
That's what I was trying to. I was going to make a joke about Da Vinci's NFT.
I think the Louvre owns it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was acquired by King Francis, who he died in, like 300 years ago. And now the French Republic owns it, which is kind of dumb. Like,
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, there are certain pieces that are like, that's got to be owned by a government.
Yeah.
You know?
French Republic debt. I'm just curious if they could get out of debt by selling Mona Lisa.
Hi, Dave. How are you? Better than I deserve. What can I help you with? We're trying to get out of a little bit of debt situation. Currently, we're $103 million in debt. But they don't sound like that. We're trying to get out of a little bit of debt situation, and currently $103 million in debt. But we have the Mona Lisa. Well, I think you should sell that Mona Lisa. Yeah, that's part of baby step number 1. That's actually baby step 3.
I did not notice till the very end what that bit was. I just thought...
You didn't get it at better than I deserve?
Yeah, I just assumed they were calling some dude from the U.S.
Somebody from the U.S. to be like, we are wondering about some financial advice. And you were like, all right. He's just going to do some dude from the U.S. I got a call from the French Republic last week, and they asked me how to do
were
taxes.
Like, would you like to buy our Mona Lisa?
Dude, they're trying to sell it through cold calls right now.
They're like, hey, we have this half slingshot. Would you like to purchase it?
All right. Too many callbacks.
Okay, all right. So this museum,
Yeah.
she set it up, and she left,
She left enough money to run it.
But there was some strict stipulations. It was 1, no renovations of the building. Keep it the same. It's my house. Don't change it.
Okay.
2, don't buy art. Don't sell art. Don't move art. Leave everything exactly how it is. If you don't follow any of my rules,
I will haunt you forever.
and
Exactly.
eternity.
Yeah, what are you going to do? Like, what? She can't stop me. Yeah.
She's like, I'll take the money away. And I'll take your soul.
Yeah.
So it's pretty strict stipulations on...
So she's definitely haunting whoever stole this stuff. We'll get there.
So in the 80s, this museum had been operating for 80 years.
It's running out of money.
So they've got $3.6 million that they've just kind of had on operating expenses. I don't know where their finances were at the time, but they upgraded their security system. And so what they said was they installed a bunch of cameras to the outside of the facility and some motion sensors on the inside, and then created like a police switch where they could call the police when at the touch of a button, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of like McDonald's. But in 88, after they had installed all this stuff, they had like an independent security reviewer show up as like a consultant.
Okay. Reviewer. Yeah.
It hit me. Okay. And so he came and he said, your security is really bad. It was
First of all,
that
this
show.
button doesn't work.
It was that Discovery. It's the Staples Easy button. It's like whoever sold this to you scammed you.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, it was this company called Staples.
You got scammed.
So it was that Discovery Channel show, It Takes a Thief. Remember that show?
Oh, and they try to break in as people's...
Yeah, they do break in. They steal all your stuff, and then they give it back, and then they set up your house's security. But they don't fix your broken doors. And so it was basically that, but without the show part. So it was just kind of like, this is uncomfortable.
Oh.
So this guy broke into the museum and told them all the stuff that they did wrong. And he had a couple big notes. He said, you've got all these cameras outside.
Big notes.
You got all these cameras outside, no cameras on the inside.
Yeah.
And he's like, so if I can get inside, I'm pretty much home free
Sure.
until I gotta leave.
Until I have to walk out with all this art. Yes. I mean, inside
I could do whatever
I want with the art.
Yeah. But
outside, yeah.
You just need to get cameras inside, is what he said.
I'm going to tell you what, though. If that guy hadn't carried it all out the front door, he wouldn't have got caught, you know?
If he would have held on to it, if he would have lived the rest of his days
If he would have
inside the
left
museum,
it all inside. If
he would have
just
died at museum the rest of his life.
You just walk around the museum every night?
Sir, do you work here? Kind
Something
of.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't see me on the camera, so.
I guess what you could call what I do work. Yeah.
It is a labor of love.
You see all this? It's mine. I'm the captain now. You're like, what? Okay.
I stole all the art in here. No, you didn't. It's still here. Yeah, but I stole it.
Yeah, but I'm still here.
As long as I'm here, it's mine.
Okay.
Now quiet down or you're going to get shot.
As long as I'm here, it's mine. Keep your voice down. This is so stupid.
So, and then he said, okay, you got no cameras on the inside, only on the outside. Get some cameras on the inside.
Yeah.
Then he said, here's another big problem. There's only one place in the whole facility where you've got a police button. You need to have these police buttons all over the place. Because what happens if your security guard isn't in the security booth to push the police button? And he needs to push the police button. Get some more police
What if he needs to push the police button and he's not near it?
So get some more police buttons. And then he said, okay, also, a lot of other art museums at the day, or just museums in general at the day, they had this policy, which
Where
seems...
1 hour every night they turn all the cameras off and all the police buttons off. And they just let it be.
See what happens. They said, what if you do that?
They all do this.
Every museum does this. 3
Trust
o'clock
me,
sharp.
I'm a
So this guy tells him what all these other museums do is every hour overnight, the security at museums will call the police and say, hey, we're okay. And then
every hour they do that?
every hour.
Dude, I would hate to be the 911 operator near a museum.
You're like, hey, 911, what's your emergency? Oh, this is just the museum. There's no emergency here.
911, what is your emergency?
Hey, this is just the museum. Just calling to say everything's good. How are you?
Okay, can you please keep your voice down?
Oh, sorry. This is the museum. Just calling to say everything's good.
Great.
How are you doing?
I'm fine, thanks. Sorry. Listen, I told you we can only... I just need an update on how the museum's going. We can't keep doing this.
Okay, but
I broke things off 2 weeks ago. You have to quit calling.
Yeah, but I have to.
I know it's part of your job, but we can call. You can tell me how things are, and then we have to hang up.
I don't understand why we can't be friends.
I just want to see you again. You know the rules. We're not allowed to see anybody. Click. I don't know. I like the idea of them because they got to talk every hour. There's got to be romance. Oh, sorry. Are you 911 operator now?
No, I'm the security guy. You're still the 911 operator.
Okay. Go ahead.
911.
Why do you've had a relationship, you're broken up, and you refer to them as 911?
You got to keep it appropriate. 911. I would really appreciate it if next time I whispered, you whisper back.
That wasn't worth it.
Okay, so he said
unless her name is Alexa. Unless the 911 operator's name is Alexa. All right.
So he's like, you guys
saying
should call
you
the
should
cops.
call cops every hour on the hour.
Yeah, he said you guys should do that.
Because then if they didn't call in the hour, then the police would already know.
Something's up. Let's
Okay.
go check it out.
Is that a real thing museums do?
I don't know if they do that anymore. I'm sure by now there's some technology that just does it for them. There's a Roomba that calls every hour.
I'm curious about that. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so he recommended that they do that as well. And then he said also another thing that a lot of museums do is they've installed turrets all in every room. Shoot, he didn't say that, but he gave all this advice.
Yeah.
Told them all this stuff that they should do.
Sure.
And they just said, yeah, no.
They said that sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, they said that's a lot of money.
We've got the cameras outside.
Here's what they said. They said one, that's a lot of money, and we only have $3.6 million. 2, they said, Isabel, she told us not to do any renovations. and she's pretty scary. So no. So they just didn't. So they said no to everything.
Hey, thanks for checking out this episode. If you like this podcast, you want more of it, please leave a review. That's super helpful to let others know who are searching for a podcast. And if you're new around here, we've been doing this for several years, and there's plenty of episodes to check out. One of my personal favorites is Agent Garbo. It was a guy who went to the government during World War II and was like, hey, let me be a double agent. And they were like, no. And then he was like, well, I'm gonna. And so he kind of went off on his own, did the thing. And it's also got some crazy details about World War II, about how the U.S. used inflatable tanks to trick Germany, all kinds of fun stuff. But if you want to go check that out, you can. But thank you so much for listening to this podcast.
They didn't do anything. They just left it how it was. And they said, hey, thanks for the review. See ya.
Okay.
And so that guy left, and 2 years later.
That's like families who go to counseling and they're like, yeah, we do have a lot of problems.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, hey, here's some
pretty
solutions you guys just start to implement. Yeah, no, that's okay.
It's just good to be aware.
No. Yeah, we just really want to know what's happening.
Yeah.
And then,
Yep.
And that way, when we're on the front yard in the news, we can be like,
Yeah.
you know, we always knew.
We know why.
We knew why she did this.
We know why.
You know?
Yeah. We understood. We went to counseling. We did our due diligence, and so we know. Anyways, 2 years later, March 18th, 1990.
Okay.
Security guard Rick Abbott, aged 23, was...
Also, they shouldn't let young people be security guards, you know?
Yeah. That was actually another thing that this reviewer said. He said...
All your security guards are too young.
Well, no, he said... You're all toddlers.
He goes, oh my gosh, you can't just let babies secure the building. There's no way they can't do anything, right?
Gave all these toddlers batons.
Sure, they have a lot of
They're
energy.
just hitting everybody.
Yeah. Burglar or not, you know? That's why they thought they'd be good at the job. And it's like, well, you know,
You need some discretion.
child labor laws were different when Izzy Stu was alive, you know?
But she left this stipulation in her will that said we can't have
babies have to secure the building.
Babies only.
She had some weird thing where she always pronounced it baby lawn, and she thought that a powerful nation in the biblical times was baby lawn. You know?
Incredible.
She wasn't smart.
Yeah. Anyways, so the March
23-year-old.
March 18th, 1990. Rick Abbott was on security. And,
He's still alive.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And he after the fact, he told the news that he was not excited to work that day because he was hungover from the night before, which was St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day. I was going to say that. Yeah.
And so he was really upset that he had to work that day, the overnight shift. So he had the whole day to rest, but I don't know. Anyways, so he came and worked hungover.
The overnight shift, like he came in the night of the 18th.
Yeah.
So he drank all of the 17th.
Yeah.
Slept
all day.
Had all day of the 18th. And was
It's
like,
oh, so hungover.
And you know what? That's what I get mad at when people are like kids these days. You know, it's like, no. Kids all days.
Kids any days.
Kids at any time have never wanted to do a job.
So he clocks in for his security.
Yeah.
And he's the nighttime security guard with a new nighttime security guard. This guard had security there before, but just not at night. This was his first night shift. His name was Randy Hestand. He's age 25.
Okay.
I was saying this a second ago, but the reviewer, one of the things he said was, "Hey, you need to pay your security guards more, so that way you could attract better security guards because they were paying just a touch over minimum wage."
Yeah.
They said if you pay your security guards a little better, you get security guards that are
good,
better. And
these guys don't know how to use a taser.
They're like, that's bad advice. Don't bring that up to me right now.
Did you know we hit 100 patrons on Patreon? And that means I'm going to pay a minimum wage 23-year-old to tase Tim. It's not going to be good. Now it's not going to be good. But you're going to get tased.
Jared's been hanging around the mall and been like, hey, want to make $7.57?
Just at the Independence Mall too, dude. So hanging around, lurking around, just behind Forever 21. Just like, hey, you want to make $7.57? No. Not
It'll
at
only be an
all.
hour.
Yeah. You have to commute to our office. You also have to provide a $400 taser.
And then just tase a guy.
Yeah, what I've been doing to Tim all week is I've been sending him Amazon tasers. They're pretty good.
Yeah, if you don't know, if you just started listening recently, about, I don't know, like 3 seasons ago, before my brain was fully developed.
Yeah.
We made this plan.
We made this joke.
That I would get tased if we hit 100 patrons. At
Which
the time,
at the
we
time,
were at like, 11?
We would, at the time, there was never a possibility of hitting 100.
Yeah, we just didn't think we were ever going to get there.
Yeah. And I don't know if you can hear in the background of this episode, but we're currently building a vault to store my art and also to tase Tim.
We're going to tase me and then they're going to lock me in the vault. Yeah, so I'm really excited about that.
Getting tased. So, and we're going to hire these people to do it.
Yeah.
So the reviewer said, pay more.
Pay your security guards more because your security guards are bad. And then
Did he
Rick
say
Abbott,
why they were bad? Like they just didn't catch him or what?
Well, he didn't go rob the place.
Oh, okay.
That was a joke. But
I thought
he said that your security guards are minimum wage security guards. You pay more, you're going to get more qualified security guards. Maybe someone who was like a Navy SEAL or something, and they're like, "Now I'm going to do security."
Yeah.
So
somebody who's just passionate about protecting art.
Yeah, you never know. So, anyways, but instead they got a guy who shows up the day after St. Patty's, almost 24 hours after partying on St. Patty's, and is complaining of
a hangover. Yeah.
So
he's like, I can't believe they made me work during the month of St. Patrick.
It's my birthday month.
That's a Big Brother reference if anyone's
put me
in
on the
it.
block on my birthday month. Rick Abbott, his behavior this night was a little odd.
Okay.
He was hungover.
Which one of us is the suspect here? Richard or Randy? Are we saying Richard is a suspect?
There's no suspects yet. This
okay.
This is a
you're still
preamble
laying out
to the
case.
heist.
Got it.
So Rick
We
is.
haven't even got to the heist yet.
This is the heist. This is the heist.
I'm
It's
sorry for
happening
people
right now.
listening.
So Rick is on
This is the
security.
heist of the episode.
He's hungover. He's hungover. He doesn't want to be here, but he's doing a security thing. And so the policy was one guard stayed in the guard's room while the other guard did the rounds. And so that way, because of the way the security system's set up, someone always was able to push the button if they had to. And then they had walkie-talkies.
I've played heist video games
so they
before.
would talk on
I know they walk
walkie-talkies.
their little route.
Yeah. So he's walking his route with his flashlight, and something strange happens while he's on his route. A bunch of their fire alarms start going off in different rooms. And so...
And he's like, is that
a fire alarm?
Is that a fire alarm?
Perfect. I can call 911. It's been a while.
Alexa. He pulls it. He pulls the fire alarm just so he can call.
Just so he can call. I missed you. No, okay, so he's doing his rounds, and he's going in these rooms where the alarms are going off, and he's like, I can't find any fire. And he's like, I can't smell any smoke. And so he keeps going in all these rooms. He's like, must be a malfunction. So he goes back to the guard's booth, and he turns off the alarms and says there's nothing to it. Continues his rounds.
And Richard's still in the guard booth.
Yes. Yeah. So
he goes back.
Randy's still in the guard booth.
Rick is doing the rounds. So Rick goes back, and Randy is still there. And Randy's like, what's going on? And Rick is like, it's fine.
He's like, the fire alarms are going off, but there's no fire, so it's okay.
Sure.
And so he turns it off. He was probably smoking in the rooms. Is probably what happened, honestly.
Maybe.
Most likely.
Sure.
It's the 90s. So he continues his round. He's, doing his rounds. Motion sensors are catching him going in just about every room, as you would expect.
They have motion sensors?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so they're catching him going just about every room, as you would expect, because he's on his rounds. And then at one point during his rounds, without notifying his partner, he just goes to one of the back doors and opens and shuts it a couple times, and then just continues his rounds, which is something that...
He didn't do on other rounds.
Well, it's something that he claims he did, but it doesn't seem like he normally did it. So anyways, that's an important thing. Just put a pin in that. Remember that he did that.
Might be suspicious.
Might be suspicious, Colin. Meanwhile, there was a hatchback out front for about an hour that a bunch of other people noticed as they were leaving a party that night.
Like a Subaru?
Yeah. It was
Just
a Subaru Outback.
Just okay.
Just parked out front, and sitting in the front seats were 2 police officers.
Really?
Yes, and a bunch of people just assumed, hey, look, those police just got off their shift or something, and they're in their Subaru Outback, just hanging out.
Just chilling outside the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum.
And so these police officers hung out in this Subaru Outback for about
What are you
an
guys
hour.
doing back there? And they're like, nothing.
Everything's fine.
Nothing.
Everything's
You're like, well,
fine.
I don't know what you're doing over there, but that's okay.
Eventually, they got out of their hatchback,
Okay.
walked up.
We got this on camera, right? Because it's outside.
Yeah. They walked up to the front door. They buzzed in and they said, hey, we got calls of a disturbance in the area. Can we come in and check it out? And
At
this point-
we got calls of disturbance in the area, and it's lucky that we've been sitting outside for 3 hours. We just happen to be here.
we just were in the area.
Could you let us in?
Yeah. And so
Randall?
Randy, at this point, Randy's now on his rounds. Rick is in the guard booth.
Okay.
And Rick says, okay, which was not their policy. Normally,
Right.
if police officers would show up, they would call
And like
the
these police
station.
look a little different too. Their pants are really short. Like they're just wearing short police outfits. Really tight tops.
We got to call of a disturbance.
We got a call of some activity over here.
Hey, we got sent here by 911. And Rick's like, 911?
Oh, she sent you? Yeah, she did. All right. Well, I guess we'll let you in. Just like clearly not police officers.
I'm just picturing like the rom-com where the dude falls in love with the 911 operator. Oh, I love this bit.
Yeah, we did a bit about the phone gal.
Oh, yeah. That's a good... Okay, anyways. So Rick lets him in, which was not their policy. Normally their policy was call the police and be like, hey, there's some police here. Are they police or are they police? And then they would make a decision.
Yeah.
But he was just like, come on in. And so then they come in and they're talking to him through the little guard booth window, right?
Okay.
And Rick, in his report, was talking about it and said one of them was a shorter man, one of them was a taller man. The taller man had a mustache that seemed pretty fake.
Did he say that?
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Like they're just wearing fake mustaches and like you just chip your tooth on the microphone.
Don't pull that way too close
Dude,
to me.
this is chaos today. So that's what I'm saying. Is like they're just wearing Party City police uniforms.
Yeah. And so,
And they're like, hey, we're the cops.
yeah, they're like, is it cool if we look around at the disturbance? And he's like, yeah,
he's like,
sure, whatever. I'm
Yeah.
hungover. And so, and then they're sitting there, and one of the cops just kind of looked at me weird for a second. And then it was like, hey, can you come out here? And he was like, okay. And so he walks out, and he's like, you look a lot like a guy that we've got a warrant out for. And he's like, turn around. And he makes him turn around, and he handcuffs him. And then earlier...
This is what I'm worried about. If we hire a minimum wage security guard to tase you, is that you would just be able to talk your way out of it.
Hey, you look
What
like someone-
kind of idiot who is the security guard would be like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then like, yeah, I guess you
you're
have
right.
to. You
You're
have
right.
to
I
cuff.
do look like
you
it.
don't have any cuffs. I've got some.
I've got some here. Why don't you use mine?
I guess I do
I
look like
I
that
do look like that
poster.
guy. I do look. It might have been me. Last night was crazy.
I'm still hungover.
Yeah.
What?
When the police first showed up, he called Randy and was like, "Hey, the police are here. You should come back." And so, as Rick is getting handcuffed, Randy comes up, and they're like, "Hey, turn around."
And they're like,
"Turn around. We got to cuff you too."
Did they really?
And he's like, "Oh, okay." And he like starts putting his hand behind the back. They're cuffing
No.
him. And he says to them, he says, "Am I under arrest too?" And the police officer was like, "No, you're being robbed," which is the freaking coolest thing in the world. And so,
And the other guy was like, no, you're just stupid.
so
What?
So they then,
Shoot, dude.
What?
You're short and I'm tall. Do we match the description?
we were born 4 years after this. but
Who knows?
could just be an alibi. We could be older than we.
My alibi is that I was born 4 years later. Oh, officer, it couldn't be me. I was born too late. No, you weren't. Reborn.
Reborn. Yeah. Check my baptism certificate. Everything behind that is covered by the blood.
Dude, I'm telling you, there was a kid in my youth group who at a church camp was like cussing up a storm. And like he was kind of like he wasn't the bully. He was definitely a kid who was getting bullied.
Yeah.
And I was one of the leaders. I tried to do my best or whatever, but like to bully him. Like I didn't bully him. I was trying to do my best to really egg it on, really build up some confidence in the bullies and build up some resilience in him. No. But he straight up was like, cussing a lot, saying just horribly inappropriate things.
Yeah.
And then later that night, after the evening service, got onto somebody and was like, hey, don't talk like that. And I was like, hey, earlier today, you said something way worse than that. And he literally went, yeah, but I got saved tonight. And I was like, can't argue with that. I was like, all right.
Sorry, officer. That was the old me.
Yeah. Am I saved? No. You're being robbed.
So they duct tape their heads
together.
Yeah, they're
Siamese twins.
Why are you doing this? You already handcuffed us.
That's what I'm thinking though. What do you mean they duct tape their heads?
They
Why?
duct taped their whole eyes and their mouths and stuff so they couldn't talk.
Oh, geez.
And see. And then what's interesting is they escorted them to the basement.
Like, you don't have to do this. We're not allowed to talk in the museum anyway.
Yeah, we have to be so
They
quiet.
escorted them to the basement?
They escorted them in the basement. What's interesting, an interesting tidbit, is they didn't ask for directions. They went directly to the basement. So these people took them to the basement, handcuffed them to some pipes. When they were found, this is how they found them. So they actually
Oh, that's terrifying.
the way they taped their face is awful.
That's scary.
And totally unnecessary. Like they've got like a strip over their eyes and their mouth, but then they've just like wrapped it around his head like a few times. Like, what are you doing? Like,
This is what he
you're
was
just
wearing as a security guard, though. I'm going to be honest. Like, first of all, this is a terrifying picture.
I also love that the matches are right
But
there
those
open.
are
Like they
corduroy pants. I'm saying if I show up to a museum and the security guard is wearing red corduroy pants, I would be like, we don't even need to handcuff him.
Yeah. Just let them continue guarding.
Let him continue guarding. And just tell him you might as well tell him we're the grandsons of Izzy Stew.
And she wants us to come take some art. Oh,
yeah, she just called and said I need to come. They don't even know who she is. They don't know she's gone. Of course, this is victim blaming, but of course he got robbed.
He didn't get robbed.
That is just terrifying though, because they're in the dark. Like they're just sitting in the dark.
Yeah, they said they were stuck down there, which sucks. So yeah, bummer for them.
And they couldn't talk to each other.
Yeah, they were just tied up.
Dang.
And so what's very interesting is for 13 minutes, the security system, like the motion sensors, didn't pick up any motion in the building. And so what the police think is they were waiting to see if the police got called, to see if they smashed the button.
Stood still for 13 minutes?
Yeah. They all just sat there in the basement completely still.
All right, I think we're clear.
I think we're good. You guys didn't call the police, did you?
Can't talk. How are you going to answer?
Their heads are duct taped together. They're trying to signal no with their head. Hey, thanks again for listening to this episode. If you like our show, make sure you follow us on social at TILLN Podcast or subscribe anywhere where you're listening to right now, whether that's YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, whatever it is. And if you want more, we do have a Patreon you can support us on. In there, you get all sorts of perks like ad-free episodes, early access to our content, and even a Discord with our hosts and producers. So we'd love for you to check that out. All you got to do is text TILLN to 66866. That's TILLN to 66866. But thanks again for checking us out. So then after 13 minutes, the first room picked up motion. And then they went room to room. And what they did is they took the frame off the wall, which set off an alarm. But that alarm, all the alarm did was set off an alarm that the security guard would then
go
say,
handle.
"Oh, hey, it sounds like something's happening."
And they were both in the basement like, something's going on.
Because the idea for all it did was make a sound. So then the security guard would push the button to call the police. But they knew the button was only in that room.
Yep.
So when that alarm went off,
The robbers did?
yeah. So when that alarm went off, they knew no one was going to call the cops. They just smashed the alarm and then just kept working. And so for 81 minutes, they went room to room, took frames off the
And
wall.
we have the motion detector doing that. We have no camera footage.
Correct. Yeah, no
Okay.
camera footage. But they went room to room, taking frames off the wall, smashing the alarms, and then cutting the painting out of the frame and rolling it up. And then after 81 minutes, they left, and you see them on camera in their little police uniforms walking out with all these rolled up paintings. And this is a really weird thing that they took. Hold on, let me get the name of this right.
Is there like an image of them walking out?
I don't know, actually. They took a French imperial eagle finial. Let me actually throw this up so you know what this is.
Okay.
Which is weird because this is literally zero value. But it was in the museum because it was on a flag that Napoleon Dynamite owned. Sorry, Bonaparte owned. And they sold this, but it had zero value. It's just one of those things that sticks on top of the flag. So it was like, hold on, let me see. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 11 paintings, that thing, and then like a Chinese candlestick.
81 minutes to take 11 paintings?
Yeah. And then, they walked outside, got in their hatchback, their Subaru Outback, and drove away.
What kind of vehicle was it?
It was a red hatchback. That's the only description we got.
We don't have any images of that though.
Let me see. So this is a picture of the security footage. So they
And
actually
a
have
painting
him
of the
walking out
robbers in the middle there.
They commissioned a really good painting.
Shoot, dude. Look at that top corner. Tell me that's not my dad. Oh no, dude. Oh no. I gotta find a picture of my dad in the 90s and you're gonna be like, oh crap.
So I mean, you see him walking out there, but you can't tell anything.
Yeah. It might as well be the ghost of
Isabella.
Yeah.
And so
what paintings did they take?
they took, hold on, let me pull it back up. They took,
What I mean, like, so you steal a painting, but you can't sell it.
yeah, so they took a bunch of paintings that you've probably never heard of.
Right.
There are 1, 2, 3, 4 Rembrandts.
Oh.
The most important one in there, though, is The Storm on the Sea of Galilee, which is the only oceanscape he had ever done, and it was a 1 of 1. So that was really the most valuable steal on there.
Wow.
There's also a Manet, a couple Degas.
Say Monet.
Manet, Manet, not Monet.
Okay.
And Vernier. So there's a lot of just random arts. So yeah, this was valued at $200 million at the
time.
At the time,
700 million.
What's strange is they left a lot of much more valuable pieces in the museum.
Okay, that's
So-
what I was wondering. So they didn't know what they were taking.
Yeah, they didn't have a concept of how much all this stuff was worth. They were just nabbing what they could, and they left. They put the frames back on the walls, and because of the stipulations from Isabella, they've just got them sitting there because they can't remodel. So they've just got these empty frames of them up
That is spooky.
to this day. And so anything that was stolen is still the frames up on the wall, and it's got its little placard on it telling you what it is, but it ain't there.
Spooky.
So yeah, so the police, the next morning, the next shift of security guards show up to do security, and they buzz in and nobody answers, and so they're like, "Well, what?" And so one of them had a key, so he keys in, goes to the security booth, and nobody's there. So then he calls the cops, and he's like,
Hits the button.
He's like, "Hey, 911."
And she's like, not again. He's like, no, it's serious.
No, seriously, I think something's happening. And so then they hang out outside because, they're children and they don't.
Yeah.
And so police show up. They find all these empty frames on the wall. And then they find the security guards in the basement. They had been there all night. I think it was 8:51 in the morning when they found them. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, did you get arrested?" And
He's like, "No, dude, we got robbed." Did you guys get arrested? Because they got tape over their mouths.
Yeah, they can't talk.
Yeah.
So there was a couple immediate persons of interest.
Sure.
Number one, Rick Abbott. His
Obviously.
behavior was very odd that night. Opening the
Yeah.
door, clearly drunk.
Why'd you tape yourself?
Let the police in. Very odd behavior.
Sure.
And very vocally hated his job. Was the experienced security guard on the shift. The other guy was not. And so he was immediately target number one of person who probably did this crime.
Sure.
Or at least was connected to it in some way. The police took him in to interview him. And
he was like,
"Am I being robbed?"
"Are you guys the real?" Like, he's never going to trust the police again. First of all, he's
That's
like,
his question from now on. Am I being robbed?
Am I being
No, you're
robbed?
being arrested.
"No, yeah,
Sorry, I have trauma.
you're being robbed."
And so the police bring him in for questioning, and they interview him, and they do the interrogation. They ask him all the questions. They go through all this stuff, and they end up ruling that he could not be a part of it and rule him out of the case.
Yeah.
For the express reason of him and Randy, the other guy as well,
Right.
were too incompetent to pull
I was
off a
going to
heist
say, not
of this
smart
stature.
enough, for sure. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, and I'm like, no, there's no way.
Yeah, so they got ruled out of this. And so they said, well,
That's what sucks about being smart, you know?
yeah, people
is
think you
that-
commit crimes.
That's exactly what I'm saying. You know?
You're smart enough to commit a major crime.
Don't ever put that on me.
The next big target for who this might be was a guy named Whitey Bulger,
Okay.
who was...
He went by Whitey,
I don't know if that was his name or
like a nickname.
a nickname. Actually, I can find out pretty quickly. Let's find out. It honestly could be Whitty. No, it's Whitey. His name is James. Went by
Yeah.
Whitey.
Yeah, that's a criminal.
Yeah. So he was the leader of a crime syndicate in Boston known as the Winter Hill Gang. And they were like, he's most likely connected to this because he does a lot of
crime.
He does tons of crime.
He's out here criming.
And so they took him in and they asked him for all these questions. And he said, "No, but you tell me when you know who did this because they owe me money. They did this in my turf. Like they owe me money. They owe me part of that." And they're like, "Yes, Mr. Whitey."
Imagine telling the police, like, "No, I didn't do it, but tell me when they find who did because I want my cut." And you're like, "What? I want my cut of the crime." Like, why? You know who we are. Yeah, I know who you think I care? I got 1 million robbers who look like you.
Well, that was one of the reasons why they
That's
were like,
bold to tell the police, "I want to know because they owe me money." And then the police are like, "Yes, sir.
"Yes, sir. Yes, you can go now."
Yeah, actually. Thank you for coming in today."
Thank you for
and
coming.
they pay him? Like, what are you doing?
They're like, "Here's $7.57.
This is all I got. $7.57. Thank you for...
So one of the reasons, obviously, he was like the leader of the big syndicate in the area. But there was a couple things that were interesting because one, he had a lot of dirty cops. And so they said that would make sense if he was able to get some cops to come do the crime. Also, he had a...
Wouldn't that be weird to be on a police force that you're like, I know some of these cops are dirty?
Yeah, that would be like sketchy.
That's difficult.
And so he was also connected...
It's hard enough to be a co-host of a podcast knowing that my co-host is compromised, you know?
Anyways, he was also connected to the IRA and the IRS, but mostly the IRA.
The Independent Regulators of Agriculture.
That was a good callback.
I know it's Food and Drug Administration, guys. Okay.
You didn't.
No, I did. Whatever.
The Irish Republican Army, which apparently is like a sketchy organization.
Yeah.
And so he was connected to the IRA, and the calling card of the IRA was setting off fire alarms when there wasn't a fire. And so they would do that when they committed crimes. But it's odd that the fire alarms went off before anyone else was in the building.
Yeah.
And so that would make you think that Rick has to be connected to
the IRA.
To the IRA and to the event, if that were
If
true.
that theory were to play out,
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. But they did the interview. Whitey refused to take a lie detector test. He said, I'm not involved. I'm not going to take a lie detector test. Give me my money when you find it. And they said, yes, sir.
They're like, all right.
And so they ruled him out of the case. Another suspect was Brian McDevitt.
Okay.
He was a suspect because he was a Boston man who in Glen Falls, New York.
He's a suspect because he's a Boston man.
This guy lives in Boston, and you know how they are.
Yeah.
This happened in Boston.
Round up all the men.
Round up all the Boston men.
Men, we're not going to leave here until one of you tells us who did it.
Tell me who did it, or I'm covering the harbor in molasses. This guy, Brian McDevitt.
Yeah.
9 years before this,
Okay.
had attempted an art heist in Glen Falls, New York.
Okay.
And the heist has some similarities. So what he did is he dressed up as a FedEx driver.
Oh.
He carried handcuffs and duct tape. And he planned to steal a Rembrandt painting. That was his goal. His target was a Rembrandt. He also loved flags. And so it would make sense that he would take the little pole at the top of the flag.
Shut up. That's a joke,
This
right?
is not a. This is.
What do you mean
100%.
someone loves flags?
I don't know. Everybody loves.
Imagine that on your dating profile. You're swiping Tinder and someone's like, I love flags. What? Dude, Flag Day? Dude, he gets so
Best
hype
day.
about Flag Day.
Why don't we have any songs
Hey,
for
you guys-
Flag Day?
Are you guys coming over on Friday? Like, what? No, we didn't. You guys, you made plans? On Flag Day? I'm not going to work on Flag Day.
You guys, yeah. It should be. It's a federal holiday.
I can't believe I'm even scheduled to work the day after Flag Day. I'm going to be so hungover.
It's like the beginning of June. He's out there just handing all these flags from his gutter.
What do you mean he's into flags? And they were like, yeah, well, he really likes flags. So he's probably a suspect.
Probably a suspect. No, he just really liked flags.
Okay.
And he fit the description of the larger robber. Like he looked similar to the larger robber in this actual in the case.
Okay.
The only problem was with the Hyde collection. Was the collection he tried to rob in 81.
Right.
Well, he dressed up as a FedEx driver, did all the stuff, and
Wait, he-
stole a FedEx truck,
Okay.
went to go do it.
Got caught up making deliveries. You know?
Pretty close. Got stuck in traffic, and by the time he showed up, the museum was closed, and he couldn't get in.
Rats. I thought you were going to say he took the FedEx truck and was like, these people need their packages first. And
Yeah,
then
they
just
need their
started
stuff.
living out.
And he's been a FedEx driver ever since.
Been a FedEx driver ever since. It's like there's a guy. Did you see the news story of the guy who just drives a city bus? Who like just goes and steals buses and then just drives the route?
No.
Or maybe it's trains. Does he do the train? Does he do it the train? I think it's the train.
That's pretty funny, though.
I saw an article. I thought it was the buses too. I'll have to look it up. It's something like that. There is a guy who took the train and then just took it to the stations.
That's so funny. So they interviewed this guy and they deemed that no, he didn't do this because he was stuck in traffic.
Did he
that
get in
night.
trouble for his 81 attempted
Yeah, he went to
heist?
jail for I think 30 months.
Just for stealing the FedEx car, though.
Yeah, for stealing. It was like stealing a FedEx car and conspiracy to commit.
Oh, interesting.
theft
So they did
or
know
something like that.
what he was like, yeah, here's what I was trying to do.
Yeah, they
Don't give him that.
the security guards were hanging out in their corduroys out front. I'm like, what are you doing, man? And he's like, I'm here to rob you. And they're like, you mean arrest us?
I'm like, dude, we closed 4 hours ago.
And he's like, oh, bummer. Yeah, they weren't closed. That was just what they tell people.
Yeah, that are trying to rob them.
Yeah, their consultant told
We're
me
here to
say
rob
that.
you. We're closed. That's funny.
So, so they ruled him out. The other big turning event was in 94. A letter shows up
Yeah.
to the museum.
And it's like, your suspects have been born.
Happy birthday to your leading suspect.
Jaron Myers and Tim Stone. They don't know each other yet.
But they did this crime 4
One day
years
they'll
ago.
get a time machine and they're... Cut that out, Alex.
Yeah, take that out.
Don't implicate
Just
us.
bleep it. One day they're gonna.
Don't do that.
One day they're gonna get a time machine and bleep.
Yeah. At least give a little bit of context.
So this letter comes, and basically this person was saying, "Hey,
To who?
To
Letter
the
to
museum.
who?
It was a letter
Oh.
to the museum, and it was like, "Hey,
Ransom
Isabella
letter?
Gardner Museum." They were like, "Hey, we know who did the crime. We don't know them, but we've been talking to them. We're pen pals, and they're ready to send the art back."
For a small fee.
But yeah, what they want is they want the reward that you're offering. At this point, they're offering a $10 million reward for anybody who can find the art, because they're like, we miss our art on our walls. And so they're like, they'll send that to you if you wire the money to this offshore account. Don't worry, they've got them in a climate controlled space in a country that doesn't have any laws. It was a non-common law country. Non-common law country.
Okay.
Is what they said. They're like, they got it in climate control safe. It's safe, okay? But send the money to an offshore account and then write something, write a note, a coded note in the Boston Globe on the May 1st edition of the Boston Globe so we know it's you, and say, hey, we're doing it. And then we'll send this to your door via FedEx. There's a great delivery driver.
There's a really good delivery guy we know.
And you can have your art back. And the FBI was like, send them back a letter, tell them we're doing it. And the FBI, so they did. And then they never heard from them again.
So they sent the money?
Yeah. Well, I think the rehearsal got a little too real for him. And so then he just didn't show up anymore after that.
Did they send the money though?
They didn't send the money. So they sent the letter
Oh.
back to say, okay, we'll do it. And they actually printed the thing in the Boston Globe, I think. But then they never heard from the letter writer again. So after that, the police were basically just like, we're pretty sure it was someone from the Boston Mafia, but we don't know who.
Okay.
In 2019, the FBI was like, we know who did it.
No.
But they said, we're not going to tell you.
We know who did it. Dude, they're like the catty little mom at church who's like, oh, I just have an unspoken prayer request. The FBI was like, we have an unspoken suspect. Don't ask me who.
They came forward and said they knew who did it.
Okay.
But they said, but the suspects are dead. Both of the suspects are dead. And they said, we don't want to reveal their names because we don't want to reveal our informant, because we have ongoing investigations that they're still informing us about.
And we're still trying to find the art.
The prevailing theory is that it was a Boston mob member who had stolen these things, attempted to sell it multiple occasions, but they couldn't get it off their hands. And there is a member of a son of a member of the Boston mob who said that they had a false bottom in their shed. And under that false bottom, he said he never got to see what was in there, but he said, well, one day there was this flood and it ruined whatever my dad had in the bottom of that, and he lost it. And he says his dad died in the mid-2000s. He went in there to see what was in there, and there was nothing in there. And so the prevailing theory is that guy was involved.
Flooded it, and those are gone.
Yeah, and they're gone forever. And Isabella, the ghost, killed that guy's dad.
Oh, for sure.
You ruined my paintings.
Well, and flooded the basement, probably. She's like, if I can't have it, no one can.
Yeah, flood.
That's spooky. There's just empty frames at the...
Yeah, and so, they've just left the empty frames up there. I am, at this point, honestly, very confident that Rick had something to do with this.
Yeah.
I think he got lucky because he's dumb, and the police were just like, oh, yeah, he didn't do anything.
Yeah, he's too dumb.
But I don't think he masterminded any of it, but I do think that the mob approached him and was like, hey, we'll give you like
$7.57.
If you just get arrested tonight.
You want to make $7.57? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. All right, open this door when the coast is clear a couple times, and then we'll come in and
Did you
we'll
say
arrest
when the
you.
ghost is clear?
Yeah, we know there's a ghost in there.
You know what? Sure.
No, when the coast is clear. What do I do when the ghost is clear? Because there's a ghost in there.
You're perfect for this.
You're exactly who we're looking for.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Calls his mom. Mom, I got a new job. I don't even have to quit my current job.
I just get to go tonight. Oh, man, do you have any like hangover tips? We're struggling.
Yeah, very hungover. Sorry, Mom. Didn't mean to tell you that.
He did find out though, if you duct tape your whole face shut, that cures your hangover pretty quick.
Yeah. He's like, the
Now
room's not
every
spinning
time
anymore.
he drinks, every day he goes, gosh, I'm not feeling great today. Good night, guys.
Still at the club. Just with his
He's
head duct
in the
taped.
backseat of an Uber. Just,
The Uber driver's like, sir, you can't duct tape your head in my car.
dude, if I was Uber driving and somebody tried to get in my car looking like that,
Sorry, I canceled the trip.
no.
Can you imagine doing an Uber X and one of the other passengers in there? His whole head's just duct taped. It's like, sir, bro, why do you do that?
Are you guys-
It helps my hangover.
And I'm just hungover. Okay. All right.
The other guy's just drinking antifreeze. Like I heard if you drink
heard
alcohol,
this,
it fixes antifreeze. So I thought maybe backwards,
Yeah.
you know.
Do you have any toothpicks for the sandwich? Wow. So that's the. I think he's got it. He's still alive though?
He's still alive. Yeah. I mean, he's got to be. I don't know.
We
that
got to
for
interview
sure.
him.
But yeah, he would be what if he was 23 then? It's been 30 years, mid 50s.
We got to try to interview him.
Yeah, let's find him. Level with us, Rick. One.
Do you
Were
think
you
he
a
kno-
part of this?
Do you think he
Two,
knows how to log in
When's
to
the last
the
time you called
internet?
911?
He's dumb. I don't know how dumb. You know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, could be.
He thinks every female 911 operator is his girlfriend.
It's been a long time. I have no idea
I don't know who
you
this
are.
is.
Sorry.
Who is this?
Who is this?
Don't play that.
Don't
game.
play games
You
with
know.
me. You know who it is.
Okay, where's your emergency?
My emergency is in my heart. I miss you.
There's no fire, but there's a passion that's burning. Oh, okay. All right.
Is Passion your cat? Or
Am I being arrested right now? No, you're being fiddled off. Hey, you made it to the end of the episode. You're probably asleep right now because you let it keep playing. But if you aren't asleep, make sure you subscribe to this channel so you get more videos. And also, if you can't wait for more, we've got plenty of other episodes and highlight clips, just some of our funniest parts, the things we enjoy the most. This show is an absolute blast, and I cannot thank you enough for being here.